You've heard of the Go Fast update. Well, now Bungie has introduced the Go Slow update. It launched with the Edge of Fate, and they finally admitted that movement speed in Destiny 2 is bugged. This is an article from the Game Post that reads, Bungie admits Destiny 2 player movement speed is bugged after Edge of Fate update. We can confirm that base mobility is bugged. I kind of knew some of this stuff would happen when they decided to rework all of the stats in Destiny 2. Mobility is tied to so many different things that it's definitely a bit convoluted. You obviously have your character's mobility, and I believe that's tied to your sprint speed, your strafe speed, your jump height, and then you can equip certain weapons that can boost your mobility, either the stat or you could boost it in various other ways. The spaghetti code for mobility is insane in Destiny 2. So of course Bungie was going to fudge this one up. Let's see what they did here. Bungie confirms Destiny 2 players are moving slower than intended after Edge of Fate, following a detailed analysis from a community member. Of course, there's always these members out there that go through and test and analyze things in Destiny 2, and they're always like, yep, this is wrong. The same thing was happened with the firing range. Oh my god, the firing range, when you shoot bosses and enemies, they give you damage numbers, and it's completely wrong. And I believe Bungie has updated it since. From what I've been told, it's still wrong. When Destiny 2 Edge of Fate dropped last month, it came with some of the biggest sandbox changes the game has seen in years. The expansion introduced the new portal screen, a complete reset of the power level, and a new Armor 3.0 gear tiering system, which overhauled how character stats and cooldowns work. Alongside all that, Bungie has also made changes to base player stats, the ones that determine how fast you move, how quickly abilities come back, and more. As part of those changes, the mobility stat, which previously impacted how fast your player moves and jumps, was removed from the visible stat list. Like your character would be at a certain base mobility, but they were giving more mobility to hunters, which I thought was just crazy. So like hunters will naturally move faster. Titans and warlocks would not be able to keep up. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. I would love to see a detailed analysis of everything because it's getting pretty convoluted when it comes to mobility. In its place, Bungie added the weapon stat and said players would now have a default movement speed, which could be boosted using the enhanced athletics leg mod, and I do put this on my characters when I'm playing PvP. Here's what Bungie said in its July 10th TWID. With the release of Edge of Fate, the player-facing mobility stat will be deprecated. While each Guardian will have its effects set to a base value, the equivalent of 30 mobility for Titans and Warlocks and 40 for Hunters. That's what I'm saying. I told you, I'm not making stuff up. When I read this, I was like, am I going crazy here? Just Titans and Warlocks just get the shaft? They just get less mobility? I mean, I guess technically Hunters are the mobility class, but it feels so weird that you would move differently from one character to another. Guardians that prefer to stay a little more mobile will need a more flexible way to access those effects. Added a new leg armor mod, enhanced athletics, which increases your base movement speed and jump. For stacks 1, 2, and 3, it provides equivalent of plus 30, plus 50, plus 60 to the previously available mobility stat. So you can see there that if you really wanted to get back to 100 mobility for your hunter, you'd have to rock triple enhanced athletics. And then the 40 plus 60 would mean you'd be back at 100. For Titans and Warlocks, though, the maximum you get would be 90. So Titans and Warlocks were supposed to move at the equivalent of 30 mobility, while Hunters would start at 40 mobility, slightly quicker than the rest. But now, thanks to the work of one community member, it looks like the base mobility is bugged. This is crazy, okay? Bungie is out here trying to update their own game. They're trying to change things, and somehow they don't have any clue what they're doing. They'll say that, hey, we fixed this thing, and then we immediately jump in the game and test it, and it's not fixed. They'll say, hey, we changed the value of this thing to this, and we jump in, and it's not changed. It's like, I am so confused how this happens time and time again. Detailed player testing reveals Destiny 2 movement speed bug. Over on the r/Destiny the Game subreddit, a user named Christic Knight investigated how movement speed is actually working in-game after Edge of Fate. Their findings paint a pretty clear picture. Players are slower than they should be, especially Titans and Warlocks. They made us go slower. The Go Slow update. Christic measured Guardian movement speeds at different mobility levels using data from before and after the Edge of Fate to compare. The results showed that Titans and Warlocks are currently moving at the equivalent of 0 mobility. Come on. 0? We're supposed to be at 30 and we're going at 0, which is about 5 meters per second, not the 5.6 meters per second expected from the promised 30 mobility. Meanwhile, hunters are sitting at about 5.2 meters per second, which lines up with just 1 mobility, not 40. Wow, that's pretty crazy. That you missed the mark by a long shot. Also, I'm a big fan of when people in the community go through and actually do the proper testing and show that things are bugged like this. Whoever works at Bungie should immediately be laid off, and this person should take their place. All right? We need to be a little more harsh here. We're just kind of letting these things slide. How about if someone on Reddit that literally plays this game as a hobby can do a better job than the person that is sitting in an office being paid like $80,000 a year salary, can do a better job than you. It's your full-time job to make sure that this stuff works. And you're telling me that this guy, Christic Knight, can do a better job than you from home on his damn console, probably out here just testing things and just, writing down some notes, makes a Reddit post. This guy gets your job, okay? This guy gets your job. He gets salaried immediately. He's on the team. We need you. We need people that care. We need people that are invested. We need people that want to get things right. It does not make sense that some random guy out there on the internet can do a better job than the salaried employee at Bungie. Even when using the new Enhanced Athletics mod, which Bungie said would provide the equivalent of plus 30 for one mod, plus 50 for two, and please tell me they at least got that part right. The numbers still fall short. Christic found that these mods are adding the correct amount of speed, but they're being applied on top of the wrong base value, meaning players are consistently about 30 mobility behind where they should be across all classes. So from the ground up, the whole thing is scuffed. It's scuffed, the whole thing. It's like a house built on sand, a game built on spaghetti code. Here's the table from Christic's. He gave him a table. Bro literally dropped a full ass. He gave him a full fucking table. Look at this. This should just be in the TWID. This should be the TWID. This should be its own separate article of sandbox balancing. And this guy should be paid a commission for his time, at the very least. Even if you don't hire him, pay this man a commission and reference this in the TWID so people can go and have the actual knowledge of how they're meant to move in the game. People that are interested. Crazy. He's got pre-Edge of Fate value for mobility, everything lining up, and he even has all the different exotics that affect mobility and movement. How it was tested, to measure these numbers, Christic used the Darcy sniper rifle to check how far away a target was and then timed how long it took the player to reach the target. This gave them a meters per second value. Bro, this guy created his own scientific instrument inside the game. This guy busted out the Darcy. He's aiming his Darcy, measuring how fast a player moves towards him. This guy's the Sir Isaac Newton of Destiny 2. This is insane. You can also check out the helpful chart Christic Knight put together to show the differences below. For the full analysis, make sure to check out the Reddit thread. You know what I find even more fascinating with this, though? Is imagine this guy didn't do this research. How long does this go on for? Someone said Darcy's measurements are bugged. Okay, first let's start from there. Claim Darcy's measurements are bugged. If Darcy's measurements are bugged, then that's another problem because then we're using bad instruments to do science, right? Which is bad, right? If you try to use a microscope and it's got a, it's scuffed, then, you're not going to do very good science. But Darcy should be a representation of how people are moving, especially when you test it multiple times. Darcy should be able to measure movement pretty good. I don't know that Darcy's measurements are going to be that bugged. The Darcy sniper rifle is probably not extremely precise because it is an in-game tool, but it should directly reflect the movement speed pre-Edge of Fate and post-Edge of Fate. People are out here double-checking and verifying and doing the research that Bungie is not doing. And they're straight up exposing this stuff, which is, honestly, this is awesome in some ways. I like that people are this scientific when it comes to things in Destiny 2 because you want things to be precise. You want things to be accurate. You want to know if I equip this mod on this weapon, it actually does this thing. Because we used to play the game a long time ago. I'm telling you, back in the day, in the D1 days, maybe even the early D2 days, we used to kind of play the game and we just threw a mod on, threw a perk on, and said, yeah, it works. The thing does the thing. That was our science, We had a little bit of bro science here and there. Nowadays, we have like actual scientists doing like mathematical calculations with the Darcy in a private match. It's insane in a good way. Bungie confirms Destiny 2 movement speed is bugged. So there you have it. So even if you want to say that the Darcy is bugged, Bungie has confirmed this now. Shortly after the Reddit post started gaining traction, Bungie jumped in, posting from the official Destiny 2 Reddit account. The dev team acknowledged the issue and confirmed that the base mobility is bugged right now in Destiny 2. They got caught with their cock out. I feel like, how long does this go on if no one tests this though, right? If this man, Christic Knight, does not test this, this just exists in the game for weeks, months, years, maybe it never gets fixed. So here's what Bungie said. Thanks for the report. The reply reads, we just checked in content and can confirm that base mobility is bugged and we are working on a fix to increase it up to 30 for Titan and Warlocks and 40 for Hunters as promised, aiming to get it out in one of the upcoming updates. So there you go. The stealth nerf exposed. They tried to make us go slow, but we said no. People will sometimes say Bungie did this on purpose, things like that. I don't think so. I just think they're a bunch of goobers there. You know, I don't think they're out here trying to stealth nerf things or, you know, sneak one past us, right? There's so many Destiny 2 players and people are out here literally looking at the game under a microscope, the Darcy microscope. You're not going to slide anything past us. And so you got to, if you're going to make your game, if you're going to balance the sandbox, you got to be on top of it. You got to know your stuff and you got to know exactly when you're changing the values, what those values will be, and then make sure that the game launches with that. Honestly, it's getting to the point, this is how sad it's getting. It's getting to the point where Bungie should make changes and they should write in the TWID, we made some changes to the sandbox, and then just drop no information, just drop the mic. Because people will just go in and do some research and figure out what exactly they changed. Because it seems like every time they say they changed something, we adjusted the value of this from 30 to 40. It's wrong. So now they should just be vague and just be like, yeah, we changed this thing. You know, you guys will, you do the math, you know, you'll figure it out. I swear. I think that Destiny 2 is half developed by the community at this point. We are doing the sandbox balancing for Bungie. We are telling them what works, what doesn't work, and changing the game. We're giving them criticism on the narrative, where it goes, the lore. We're telling them what we want from expansions, from seasons. I mean, we're basically just making this game, and Bungie is just kind of like, they're just kind of the conduit for us. We're developing the game at this point. The Destiny 2 community develops Destiny 2. Bungie is kind of just the front man of the operation, right? They're just kind of like the name. They get to take credit for all of our hard work. Bungie just takes credit for all of our hard work. Investigating shit like this and like fixing all of the problems and exposing like crazy scandals like art theft and stuff like that. They're just the front man, but we're doing all the hard work behind the scenes. So yes, players' movement speed is currently bugged in Destiny 2. Bungie didn't give a specific date for when the fix will go live, only that it's planned for a future patch. This marks the second major stat bug found by the community since the Edge of Fate launched, which if you don't know, they said that base stats of 70 post Edge of Fate would be the equivalent of 100 pre-Edge of Fate, and it turned out that it was actually 85. If you didn't see that one, we covered in a comprehensive video talked about that. So they said right here, last month, Bungie admitted that Armor 3.0 ability cooldowns were also not working correctly. In that case, another player's testing revealed that grenade and melee cooldowns weren't scaling the way Bungie originally described. Are you feeling a bit slower in Destiny 2 Edge of Fate? If I'm being honest, I didn't noticeably feel a lot slower. Maybe that's because I'm rolling around on the ground like a rat doing Matter Spark going through sewers, but clearly I was going slower and didn't even realize it. Half the time I'm in PvE, I have an eager edge sword on, so I'm just swinging that thing around. Did you feel slower though? Did you actually notice it? Sometimes it's hard to notice the difference between a slight mobility loss, but it is true. This is a confirmed bug, and I'm happy we got to the bottom of this case. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe, smash the like button, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.